Welcome to How to Save Your Marriage with Nicola Beer, a show full of tips and practical strategies to repair, rebuild, and strengthen your relationship. If you are currently stuck wondering if your marriage can be saved, or you know you want to save it but don't know how to go about changing it, this show is for you. And now here is your host, Nicola Beer, who specialises in a proven 10-step program to help couples increase the love, passion and happiness in their marriage in 30 days or less, guaranteed.
Hi and welcome, this is Nicola Beer and I'm so pleased that you're here with me listening to this episode because it's something that is really important and I'm very passionate about. And these are 4 things that don't help when your husband or wife has said that your relationship is over. When they've said they want a separation, when they've said they want to call it quits. Because general relationship advice doesn't work when it comes to saving a marriage in crisis. A couple wanting to increase their intimacy a little bit more or overcome one area of tension is completely different to helping a marriage on the brink of divorce. And I help with both, so I know this. If you follow general relationship advice, it may make your situation worse, not better, which is why I felt I had to share these 4 myths with you. When I was introduced to John and his wife Kim, they were on the path of divorce, literally on their way to get divorce proceedings underway. It was a chance meeting at a real estate agent's office. John was waiting in the office to speak to an agency about the value of their marital home and find out the fees and time frame for putting it on the market. He wanted to know what it would be worth because they'd already started thinking about what would happen financially if they separated. Making small chat, he asked me what I did, as he said he recognised me. I told him I guide people to save their marriage. "You're joking," he replied, laughing. "No," I smiled. I help men win back their wife's intimacy and interest in marriage, as well as women who want to win back their husband's attention, affection and support. He told me how they were ready to call their marriage of 16 years quits, and that for a long time coming, neither of them had felt happy or fulfilled by their marriage. It was falling apart more and more despite several attempts at patching things up, which always ended in what seemed like an ever bigger problem between them. It had been a very long time that either had felt like they mattered in the relationship, and admittedly they'd been keeping it together, barely, for their children's sake. A lot of nights were spent with John sleeping on the couch or in the spare room. Small things turned to silly arguments which became quickly bigger issues. Tension and arguing and shouting had become normal occurrences. Both John and Kim were desperately seeking to be cherished and loved. Neither felt like they were getting the love they badly desired. The more they tried to express this to each other, the less they felt it, and the distance between them just increased, more and more. Everything they had tried to remedy their marriage in the form of counselling and self-help had done nothing to help them long term. In fact, the counselling had made them more aware of their problems and more aware of how stubborn each other could be. A drastic change was needed in their relationship, but neither knew how to achieve that. Their relationship was stuck in a serious, harmful rut, and neither could see a way to fix it. I'm not about to sit here and say I was able to undo years of old, painful arguments and resentment in one single day, because that's certainly not the case. But what I shared with this desperate couple that day prompted them to instantly press pause on divorce. That was easy for John, because he wanted to do anything to stave it still, whereas Kim had given up hope. Kim felt it was too late, that the marriage was over. However, she did agree to give it another 6 months of time. John felt that him and I had met for a reason. He told me that he was not ready to give up living with his children. He was not ready to shatter his dreams of a close family unit. He lived for the weekends and family holidays and family times where all 4 of them were together. It meant so much to him. He couldn't bear the thought of moving into a single apartment and living alone. He hired me on the spot and we began working together to correct the things that Kim wanted changed a long time ago, which had fallen on deaf ears at the time. In a few months, there were remarkable changes visible in their marriage. The small things turned into big issue arguments had stopped, vanished in fact. The nights spent sleeping on the couch or in the spare room were a thing of the past. There was no ripping into each other or name-calling or viciousness or blaming. The complete lack of physical intimacy had been replaced by a sincere pleasure and renewed passion. Pretty amazing, right? They since had a ceremony to renew their vows and invited me to join them. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it. However, I just thought that was so nice that they felt that much in love again that they've renewed their vows. And they're also planning another child, which again is a sign that they really have completely turned a corner and really do want to be with each other long term. The truth is, most people offering marriage counselling are not trained marriage counsellors. They have likely received their traditional therapy training and simply added marriage counselling to their list of services offered, most likely after the fact too. Not really a nice thought, is it? The reason I'm sharing this is because the level of experience that many people have in truly helping a marriage in crisis where a husband or wife has made divorce threats or asked for separation is little to none. And when they're offering this service, their tactics and techniques are more likely outdated and simply no longer effective because these same techniques were simply never created to help a marriage in serious confusion. The techniques they learn are to listen, to empathise, to look at your childhood, in most cases, which is all valuable, but to save a marriage and to stop divorce, you need focus, structure, actions, and focusing on the present, not the past. You need to act quickly before it's too late. Are you with me? That is why even the best marriage counsellors only enjoy a marginal success rate of around 20 to 25%. Alarming when you think of it. If a so-called professional in another field said they have a 20 to 25% success rate, we wouldn't hire them at all. Imagine that, seeing a doctor and them saying, take these tablets, they may make things worse when you take them, but there is a 20 to 25% chance that they could have a positive result. 75% you could feel worse. Do you want them? Would you touch them? I know I wouldn't. And it wouldn't be legal either. I had counselling for eating issues a long time ago. All the counsellor did was make me pour out my heart, looked at me with pity, and said nothing apart from ask me what I felt or thought I should do. I felt like screaming. That is exactly why I am here paying you. I don't know what to do. I need some steps, I need a plan to follow, and quickly. A plan to help me eat like a normal person and stop compulsively eating or dieting. Anyway, I won't bore you with that story. However, let me just quickly say that if you have ever had any eating issues and need a solution to become free of this, then do subscribe to this show and do stay tuned, because this is something that I'm also going to be helping with in the future, because I have had a lot of experience in working with people with bulimia, compulsive eating and anorexia. And the reason, again, I'm passionate about this area is because it's something that I've gone through myself and I've been training in for many, many years and helping people in many years. But I haven't really created a podcast on it yet, and I haven't really spoken out loud about it. But a lot of people have eating addictions and there's so much focus on other addictions. So I am going to be creating a few episodes on that. So if that is of interest to you, then stay tuned. You can also email me, nb@nicolabeer.com. if you want to find out more quickly, because it is a area that can really harm people's health and sometimes kill people. So anyway, that aside, I just wanted to point out that I can relate to counselling not being helpful from my experience. It's so frustrating when your local option will not serve you. I couldn't find anyone to help me. And the same again when my relationship hit a rock bottom. I felt like my situation was hopeless because the people that I paid and commuted to go and see, put my time and energy in seeing them, weren't giving me any structure, any support, any sort of guidance. They didn't seem like they had many cases before dealing with this. So that is why I'm so passionate, and that is why I'm going to be sharing with these 4 things with you in just a second. Because it frustrated me so much hearing men and women come to me and say that they've tried counselling, it hasn't worked, and they're getting divorced. And I help people through divorce as well. And they said to me, "Oh, Nicola, we really did try. And we went to the counsellor and we just found out that we were more stubborn. And we found out that we were more in conflict than we did before we went there." And I'm sure you can tell by listening to me that it bugged me big time. Because, we trust people. People in this position should be able to help us. So once I discovered that the usual methods for marriage therapy were not working, I was convinced I could find and create a new way of saving marriages, using examples of case studies of amazing marriages, what are they doing differently, using my own experience, and interviewing countless couples on how they managed to turn things around. Now, this was going back over 12 years ago. And then I created the programs I've created. And since then, obviously, I've been working with more and more couples every day. And I created a set of tools that actually did good. I had to release all the traditional theories and techniques that simply don't work. And that's why you need to do exactly the same. So here is the 4 myths that I'm going to be sharing with you when it comes to saving a relationship when there's been a serious threat of separation or divorce. If they've said, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore." The first one is learning better ways to communicate. Picking up better ways of communicating is not enough to help when a person has already shut down. Learning what effective communication is will only enable you to fight with your partner more effectively. In some instances, these proved skills of communication can be more damaging than helpful. Plus, there are thousands of couples who are communicating effectively and well. It's just that one person has had an affair or fallen out of love or slipped into depression or whose anger or addiction has got in the way of love. It's their feelings that have changed, that need to be changed. So what is communication going to do? How is communication going to help if someone has left the marital home? How is communication going to help if someone refuses to communicate with you? Talking does nothing if there's no connection. So the first thing we need to look at is rebuilding the connection. Does that make sense? The next thing, number 2, is the myth is that there's only one way to fix your relationship. And most marriage fixing programs claim that there's only one real way. I've learned there are infinite ways, and each way needs to be given the attention it deserves. Tools that may be handy in one area of the process can often hinder another point in the process. There is in fact a unique way to deal with each in a way that helps to work towards healing your relationship. And these ways are tried and tested and have been working for couples that I've supported over the years. So the key thing to recognise with this is that there isn't a one way, you need to do this, you need to do that. What you need to do is you need to get into the mindset of your spouse right now. If your spouse has threatened, it's over. Or if you yourself are not sure you want to be in the relationship, what is going through your mind? Often it's a lot of negative feelings about your partner, negative feelings about the relationship cannot be changed, negative things about love perhaps, negative things about your relationship. So the quickest way to turn this around and get that second chance is to listen to what concerns and problems that your partner has been sharing with you. Because these are the keys to getting the right support for your relationship. One of the topics that most couples come to me on when it comes to intimacy is one person's got a higher desire and the other person's got a lower desire, which is natural. And I'll work with a husband or wife and they will say to me, how can I get my husband or wife to be more intimate with me? How can I get them to want to fulfill my sexual needs? And the truth is, there is not one way to do this. First of all, we need to look at their sexual and intimacy history. We need to look at what the husband or wife has been saying. We need to look at when they've been in the mood, when they haven't been in the mood. Then I need to give them lots of different strategies, and then they pick one they feel most comfortable with, they try that, and then we try another one. If that one doesn't work, and it follows a sequence. And some of the solutions to fixing relationships, you may feel, I don't want to do that, or that's not me. And the most important thing in a relationship is to be ourselves. That's the greatest gift in any relationship, is being in a relationship where you feel, I can be me. That's just brilliant. And so we don't want to change that. And sometimes I read these relationship bits of advice that they put on the internet and other places where they expect people to say these phrases, say these words, where it's completely alien to them. It's just not something that would ever come out of their mouths. So I find that a bit bizarre, to be honest. Anyway, moving on to myth number 3. Unless your partner is as invested as you are, the healing of your marriage cannot start. You cannot start saving your marriage if your spouse isn't interested. This is what people will say. This is what some of the advice is on the internet. This is what some marriage counsellors do say. And it's a lie. I have helped many husbands to save their marriage where their wife said nothing will change their mind. Where the wife refused to go to marriage counselling. Where they said it's completely over. Where they've even left the house. And these men have turned it around and now they are in a happy, close, loving marriage. I've also supported women to ruin their husband's affair. Their husbands are still cheating on them. And we've worked together. They've ruined their husband's affair. They've changed the nature of their relationship. They've changed how they treat their husband. The husband's become more interested. They've become more attractive to each other. And it's been solved. And this is all done single-handedly. Because when the situation is bad, it can sometimes take a bit longer for your partner to come to the table. However, it does not mean that you cannot set the wheels in motion yourself or learn the relationship techniques and tools for yourself so that they can join you when you are ready and they are ready. One person being more motivated than the other in a relationship to save it is normal. In fact, it's rare for two people in a relationship to feel the same amount of love and passion at exactly the same time. Are you with me? The difference between a husband and wife when a marriage is close to being over is often that one has lost hope and the other still is hopeful. So it's not that the husband or wife in that relationship doesn't see that there are problems. Of course they see there's problems. It's impossible to be in a relationship and one person be completely unhappy and the other person not know. The difference is one has hope and the other one doesn't. Does that make sense? It's typically because one person has lost all hope and the other person hasn't. And the person with no hope says, I want out. And the person with hope tries to convince them that there is hope and that their feelings are wrong. But no one wants to hear that their feelings are wrong. So what do? They push their husband or wife aside. Are you with me? Therefore, if one person, instead of trying to talk to their partner and trying to change their feelings by talking, begins a structured program to fix it, where they feel hope, the program offers hope, they transmit a vibe of positive hope through their actions, they stand a great chance of inspiring their husband or wife to consider that possibility also. Whereas doing nothing means both are stuck, feeling hopeless, and that nothing will change. So one person being willing to get marriage help and the other person not wanting to does not mean that your marriage is not able to be fixed. The process and techniques I use are successful, even if your partner has given up already. Because you being willing to learn how to change away from that negative energy, how to get that positivity and that hope back, will make a difference. Make sense? Now let's go to myth number 4. Time is the greatest healer. This is perhaps one of the most damaging untrue statements about marriages. From my experience, couples who keep putting things off are the ones who think stuff will get worked out on its own over time. But this is never ever the case. And deep down, you already know that, which is why you are absorbing this information right now. You are already searching for solutions to become closer and to take a proactive approach to this situation. Because if you're not willing to make changes and take the necessary steps to fixing it, all negativity is sure to bring your relationship down substantially. And before you know it, it may be too late to do anything about it. It's crucial that you put the wheels in motion to start working on saving your marriage right away, before things get completely out of control and it's too late for any kind of repair. Here are some of the steps that I work through with men or women saving it on their own. The first thing I do is help them by supporting them to save their marriage by injecting it with authentic actions and positivity. We devise actions that they can take that little by little will allow their husband or wife to see them differently. And as they begin to see them differently, their feelings will change. If marital separation has been asked for, then it's pointless talking about how you will change, how things can be different in the future, as they already are thinking about a future without you. Are you with me? So it's about shifting your energy, taking actions that will bring you closer. I also help letting go of resentment, as this is often at the core of most marriages close to divorce. Essentially, whether I offer marriage counselling online or in Dubai, I focus on helping people to motivate their spouse into treating them differently, making sure that it's authentic to the person and that the changes last. Not just for a few days or weeks, but long term. And that's why the changes have to, again, be authentic to that person. So if you're struggling with this right now, if your relationship is in crisis, if you're feeling stuck and trapped, then do take advantage and book a complimentary 30-minute relationship transformation consultation with me if this calls to you. Because during that consultation, we can discuss a way forward. And if you're not quite ready to have one-to-one support at the moment, for any reason, then do get my 7 Secrets to Fixing Your Marriage free ebook. Because in there's secrets on changing and transforming your relationship, as well as emails from me offering advice that really does work when your relationship is going through difficulty. If you want to get some really good sound relationship advice, then subscribe to get the free ebook, because the emails will give you ongoing support for your relationship. I hope that you enjoyed today's podcast. Do subscribe to the show if you do, and I would also like to just thank anyone that has left me a rating or review. It really makes me feel motivated to keep creating new free podcast episodes every week. I am taking in lots of suggestions at the moment for new topics as well, and I'm working through some of the ones that I've got. So if you do have a burning topic that you would like me to discuss, then do get in touch with me. From my heart to yours, have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to How to Save Your Marriage with Nicola Beer. To book your free Save My Marriage consultation, please visit www.savemymarriageprogram.com/consult. And if you've enjoyed this episode, Nicola would really appreciate it if you could leave a rating and review on whatever app you're listening through, so the show stays visible, allowing more people to get the support they need to increase their love, passion, and happiness.